What's up, Mixed Reactions? It's Ian, Justin, Casey, and Justin's brother Alex. We're on from episode 98 of Mixed Reactions after a great week 9 in the NFL. And how are you doing today, Justin?
Can't complain too much, except the trade deadline was very, very quiet, and I'm not happy that it was quiet for me.
Wasn't quiet for me.
No, it was not.
How are you
I
doing
was,
today, Casey?
If you would have asked me this question when I woke up this morning, I would have tell you I'm doing horrible. But after this trade that was made earlier today, doing okay.
Yes, sir. How about you, Alex?
could have done better, but I get where they're going with the Broncos. They're want to stick around, keep the group that they have going. It's got good camaraderie. So would I've liked to seen them add a wide receiver like a Jalen Waddle? Probably, but I kind of understand where they're going.
A
I
lot
thought
go.
Shaheed was going to go to Denver for sure. That was my initial thought.
Yeah, he was looking at everybody and looking at the whole group. He's very like a Marvin Mims, so he's a very like multi-tool receiver. We already have that with Mims, so why would we just get another one of him versus getting a number two, like a legitimate like 1A, 1B, Court Sutton being your 1A and then maybe like a Waddle being your 1B. But if they wanted too much for him, so I I get that they don't want to give up the draft capital.
What was it, a three
Makes
and a
total
six that Seattle gave for Shaheed?
A 4 and a 5 for next year. But I heard Miami wanted at least two number ones and a player like a
For
starter already
Waddle? Hell no.
for Waddle. So
He's good, but no
He's
more.
good, but
not
he's
that
not
good.
that good. Now, what the hell are the Jets doing?
I mean,
Or
the Jets have so many problems though. Like they're just obviously going on a fire sale. They knew they had the trade value there. Now they have a bunch of draft capital that's coming. You can't really blame the Jets. I mean, yeah, Sauce Williams and Quentin Williams, they're both stud individual players, but they've been on the Jets for years and it's been the same story each and every year for them. So they weren't making a true difference into that organization. So they're going for a fresh start. I get what the Jets are doing. It made sense.
But why not trade Brees Hall too?
too late in this, he requested a trade too late. He requested it too late when he wanted it. And I mean, you can't get something done within an hour of the trade deadline.
Yeah, you
When
can.
So
Yes, you can.
I was surprised at how late it happened. I was like, oh yeah, that's not getting done.
No,
That's by some
it's fair
actor
because
guy.
it's very late at the that's definitely at the 11th hour. Say now I want out for sure, but it wasn't like the
yeah,
Jets were going anywhere. They could have traded him anyway. I mean, they already unloaded Sauce Gardner and Quentin Johnson.
Yeah. Well, Sauce Gardner, that whole conversation was going on for weeks, apparently. Per Pat McAfee in his podcast, they were talking about like those talks have been going on between the Colts and the Jets for multiple weeks, and then it finally got done today.
man, the Colts already had a very solid roster to begin with, a very good
hmm
defense to begin with. Adding a corner the caliber of Sauce Gardner really propels them, I think, at this very moment. As I don't want to say the favorites in the AFC because I still don't trust Daniel Jones,
No,
but at least favorites to finish top two in the AFC to end the regular season.
This pretty much slams the door on your prediction of the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the South.
Oh, that I shut that door 3 weeks ago. I was done with that 3 weeks ago.
What are
That,
they
that was my
4 and
preseason prediction. That look for the first couple weeks that was looking pretty good, and none of us trusted Indy for the first month and a half.
Oh hell
Let's
no!
be real, none of us trusted Indy then.
I
But
didn't.
they had 6 turnovers and only lost by what 7. Like
Yeah,
they hung in that game despite how bad they played offensively. So you got to give credit where credit is due there.
yeah.
Um,
One leverage
and
penalty away.
yeah, 100%. And so I think what they really needed, they got. Like they got that shutdown, lockdown corner that's needed. And so I don't foresee them slipping up too much more in the regular season. Again, I definitely don't trust Daniel Jones to go make a deep playoff run, but we know the regular season and the playoffs are two different beasts. And so I definitely foresee them being in one of the top two seeds in the AFC come the end of the season for sure.
Lucas Oil would be loud a home playoff game. You remember when Jonathan Taylor broke that run against the Patriots? Or no, it wasn't Jonathan Taylor. I'm tripping. How loud it got. Was it Jonathan Taylor?
Yes, it was Jonathan Taylor.
it was either Jonathan Taylor or Edgerrin James.
You know which one I'm talking about? Where it was a little bit. If anything, it was it wasn't Joseph Adai. Yeah, I
No.
just saw a video of it the other day. The Patriots were 9-4 at the time, so this couldn't have been that recent.
Well, it could have been the Mac Jones rookie year because Jonathan Taylor did break off a big run
That
against
must be
New
the one
England.
I'm thinking of. Yeah, it was. It
Is
had to have
when
been that.
it's when Carson Wentz was starting for the Colts.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about my Cowboys real quick, guys. So as I said to opening my spiel here, if you would have asked me how I was doing last night, early this morning, my answer would have been fucking terrible. Is how I'm doing. Our defense again got absolutely shredded. It was the one of the most pitiful performances I've seen on defense. I know they only allowed 27 points, which is pretty low for them, but Arizona was 80% on third down. Jacoby Brissett looked like a prime fucking Peyton Manning throwing to Marvin Harrison Sr., not Marvin Harrison Jr. Deron Bland looked like he was lost, looked like he was stumbling drunk backwards half of the night.
He got burnt.
Obviously, that game kind of, you know how I said last week, I feel like that game was lost after Dallas' second possession because they got the pick on the first drive, then got stopped at the 1 yard line. Denver got a touchdown, then Dak got sacked on the second drive. To me, I think this game, unfortunately for Dallas, was lost on the very first possession of the game. They go boom, 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 right down the field, 4th and goal. I get why Brian Schottenheimer did it because I was here last week, kicked a field goal, didn't work out well. I trust my offense. Let's go for it. Didn't work out again. Josh Sweat gets the sack. What happens? Arizona gets 3 for 4 on third downs on that next drive, kicks a field goal, goes up 3-0. I think the game was lost then because with this horrible defense before the Quentin Williams trade, because I think this is going to be huge, and the Luke Wilson trade, I think this defense is going to be very, very different come next Monday because I think Overshown is going to be back as well. But before then, this defense, you cannot allow any type of momentum to go to the offense. You cannot allow any type of spark. And that offense had a spark the second Josh Sweat sacked Dak on the 4th and goal last night. And it showed. Arizona, give you a little fun fact. They have played 14 games on Monday Night Football. They are 4-10. All 4 of their wins in their history of Monday Night Football.
All against Dallas.
Have come against
Every
Dallas.
single one of them.
Every single one of them.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Who do you guys play outside the bye? After the bye, you guys play the Eagles, right?
The Raiders.
No, the Raiders. The Raiders again on Monday night. And so I feel like that's going to be a good welcome back game for DeMarvio and Overshown. I think that's going to be a good welcome game for Quentin Williams. So I'm not saying it's going to be a get right game because Geno Smith's probably going to look like Michael Vick. You know, this defense.
Well,
I still don't.
Yeah, your secondary is not that great.
No, absolutely not. Diggs won't be back yet because he got put on the IR, so he has to miss a minimum of 4 games. But I really like the interior D line now with Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams. I think that's actually a formidable defensive line.
For the record, once the Micah Parsons trade went down, you said Kenny Clark. I would rather take a bag of potato chips than Kenny Clark.
I did. See, but that was the anger of trading Micah Parsons. Like that. That's how. But I do like what Kenny Clark has done. And so this may now not be a situation where the offense, as I said last week, if they're not perfect, they lose. This may not fully be the case anymore. There's still not going to be a good defense. Still not even going to be a formidable defense. But they might be trash, which is better than what they are now. If they can just rise up to the level of being a trash defense, I'm a happy guy.
Do you think they make the playoffs based on the trades that they made today, or do you think they're still a year out because of injuries and stuff?
So I want to answer it 2 ways. The bias fan in me, and also the very small logical part of me knows if their offense is truly clicking, they can beat anybody. They have as much firepower as anybody in the league. So if they're clicking on all cylinders offensively, they can go and drop 40 on anybody. But if their offense isn't perfect, the defense is obviously always going to be in shambles. So that's where my logic part kicks in and says, no, they probably won't make the playoffs this year, and they're probably still a piece or 2 away, because how often can you truly ask your offense to go be perfect every game. You can't. That's why this is a team sport, because you need to rely on one another. And obviously, Dallas cannot rely on their defense as of now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold my true opinion to that. I want to see what they do. Not against the Raiders. I don't care about that. I think they'll beat the Raiders. The very next week, at home, divisional game against Philly. They're always really good at home. Dak is always super good against divisional opponents, especially the Eagles. He plays phenomenally well against the Eagles. So if they come out there and get that W against Philadelphia and their defense actually looks okay, I may change my answer to yes. I think they can make the playoffs. But as of now, I'm going to say no.
That 4-game stretch after Vegas is rough. You got Philly, Kansas City, Detroit, and Minnesota. Minnesota's probably the easiest one out of those 4, but that's not easy anyway.
See,
how J.J. McCarthy looked this past weekend.
I hate using history on this, but we always beat the dog shit out of Minnesota.
It's one thing I always make fun of. That's the 4th out of those 4. You might go 0-3 getting into Minnesota.
It's possible.
I mean, I'm not saying you will, but you can make the argument that you will go out of 5-game Vegas through Minnesota. You can go 1-4 easily.
It's possible. Absolutely. Absolutely, it's possible. And I hope that's not the case, but it's 100% a possibility if this trade doesn't have the impact that I think it will, especially with Overshown coming back. Luke Wilson's a hell of an upgrade from Kenneth Murray. I wish Kenneth Murray would leave. Like, I want them to travel when they go to Vegas, leave him there. He forgot his plane ticket. He can't get on the plane.
You can play Home Alone with him.
Like, Kenneth Murray, lost in Vegas, never seen again. He has been
the wrong plane, follow the wrong guy, follow the wrong guy in the coat.
He has been the absolute worst player on this defense.
I'm in New York.
Now, let's move on to our guest team. Obviously, as you said earlier, Denver didn't make a move, but you seem to be okay with it. Mm-hmm. How do you feel the emergence of Bo Nix's second season has played into them being okay not going to get that number 2 receiver?
Obviously the first season, first year, everybody was like kind of was iffy about him because of how he was at Auburn and how he performed there and how he couldn't hit the deep ball and stuff, which he still has problems with. He still has trouble overthrowing players. In his second season, he is, I think, tied, I believe, for the most TDs by that draft class. In that draft class, he has the most yards with that draft class that he's been that he was with, along with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and everybody. As far as how do I think his second season's going and how do I think that the Broncos are going to be doing, it is concerning that the offense can't get their shit done in the beginning of the first 3 quarters. That is a very, I feel like I need a defibrillator every weekend with the first 3 quarters. I feel like I'm just going to have a heart attack every single time. But the fourth quarter is they don't call it Mile High Magic for no reason, and there's the comparisons of is he more or less like Tim Tebow with how he is performing, or is he more like a John Elway, 1970s 80s John Elway? I think that he is doing a lot better as the season goes on, as he's faced multiple teams. I mean, we faced a gauntlet of teams. I mean, the past 2 weeks, the defense has faced the number 1 offense in the league, the Cowboys. We kicked their ass. No offense. Last week, we play the number 1 defense in the whole league. That's against the Houston Texans. Granted, it was very slow, but in the end, we win. In the end, Bo Nix was able to mount a fourth quarter comeback and be able to lead the team. Do I wish this was all going to happen in the beginning? Would be all 4 phases of the game, all 4 quarters, just keep the gas pedal on? 100%. But, I'm okay with it as long as we win, right? It doesn't matter. A W is a W, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, you also got to take into account. You guys got a little bit lucky with C.J. Stroud going out in the second quarter, being done for the day. Not to say to take anything away from what Denver did, because they had a. I mean, it was a struggle from the jump, and you knew going into that
No,
game with Houston having
Well,
the best defense in the league, it was going to be a struggle.
well, and we're also
that's
without
fair,
the.
though, Justin, because I was gonna say that's a fair point because there's a huge difference between facing C.J. Stroud and Davis Mills.
Oh, 100%. But hey, an NFL team is an NFL team. You know, it doesn't matter
Yes.
who your quarterback is. That quarterback should be able to perform. And for Denver to hold Nico Collins out of the end zone for only 75 total yards of receiving is not bad with a backup cornerback, with the reigning defensive player of the year, Pat Surtain, being out with a pectoral injury. Now, how did Riley Moss, the most penalized cornerback in the whole entire league, right?
File.
He played a damn good game. He didn't get penalized once, not one pass interference on him, and he did great in coverage that game. So I think that, you know, if we're talking about like if I like wanted to predict the future and see where they're gonna end in the division, it's gonna come down to week 12 and week 17. Because week 12, or no, sorry, not week 12, week 11 and week 17. Because week 11, we play Kansas City at home. Week 17, we play Kansas City in Kansas City on Christmas Day. That is where I feel like that Bo Nix needs to really, really step up his game. Now, last year was really close. Bo Nix beat the Chiefs. We lost against the Chiefs off a blocked field goal. So it was our special teams that lost us that game. And granted, the last game of the year, the Chiefs are already in. They're going to sit their starters because they're not going to want their players to get hurt, you know? So do I take that as a real, did Bo Nix beat the Chiefs at that point? Yes, but he was playing backups. Now with this year, because it's going to be a division, like this is going to determine who is the AFC West champion. I feel like that Bo Nix will pull something magically out of his butt and somehow make it finally that the Broncos will beat the Chiefs, just like they
And
did in 2015.
and not only Kansas City, but your guys' schedule is going to be still have to play. I mean, you get to play the Raiders twice. That's cool. The Commanders,
Without Jaden
That's
Jackson,
an,
Daniels.
without Jane Daniels, and then you got the Chargers the last game of the season at home. So, I mean, and they're also two games up on Kansas City, which I think also important as well. I don't know if it was Kansas City or another team we were talking about earlier in the year, but it could get to the point, regardless of how hot they get, it may be too little, too late. As long as Denver doesn't completely head in the
I
wrong
think we were
direction, they
talking
could
about
stay somewhat
Baltimore on
safe.
that front. I think it was Baltimore we
Maybe.
mentioned.
Yeah.
But
definitely Baltimore.
But
but
there's a good chance Denver heads into into their bye on week 12 being 9-2 or 10 9-2 going into the bye, and then you come out afterwards and there's a good chance you finish the year at maybe you know let's see, was it like 13-4? You could finish 13-4. There's a really good chance with how they're playing, but like I said, I would rather them just play all four phases of a game, all four quarters, play a consistent 4 quarters of the game versus, hey, we're down 30 points. Let's come ahead and let's pull some magic out of here and then let's beat the team. Let's beat everybody. So
What what would worry me if I was a Denver fan in that type of situation, especially knowing that you still have the Chiefs twice, and obviously the first one's at home, which is good. But the negative side of that is you're facing the Chiefs off a bye week, which means you're facing Andy Reid off a bye week. And if I'm
who
not
is
mistaken, he's about
uh,
12 and
he's
1
yes.
coming off a bye week. So
Mhm.
you know he's prepared. You know the Chiefs are going to be ready, especially after that big loss they had on Sunday to Buffalo. You know you're going to get the best version of the Chiefs, and that is never a good sign.
Yeah. I think if yeah, I think what the Broncos will need is for them to win that game, they're going to need to be healthy. They're going to need Pat Surtain back. Now, is he going to be back before that game with the pectoral injury, or do you hold him out till the bye and let him play the Commanders on Sunday Night Football? I don't know. I know Pat wants to be back for that game, especially because it's a
Of course not.
divisional rival game. But you got to look at it the Broncos got to look at it in the long run. Like, hey, do we rush this guy back, even though he says he's good? Do we rush him back, or do we just be like, hey, let's hold off. We need you for the playoffs because we're probably going to make the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It just matters where in the seeding we make it. So me personally, I want him back, but do I think he's going to be back by then? Probably not.
Now, this is a kind of an interesting thing here because obviously we have a Broncos fan here, we have a Patriots fan here. A lot of similarities between your two quarterbacks.
Two best quarterbacks in that draft class. I don't think it's even up for debate. Barring injury to Jaden Daniels, hope he recovers.
Who would you rather have going forward the next 5 years, Bo Nix or Drake May, Justin?
For consistency, I'd say Drake. The difference, though, is Drake puts himself in much more harm's way than Bo Nix does. That would be my caveat to that. And Drake has a much better long ball than Bo Nix by a mile.
He does.
By a freaking mile.
He does.
The only thing I would say is Bo Nix is a much better receiving core to work with, talent-wise, than Drake right now.
Mm-hmm. I think Bo is better at scrambling too than Drake May. In a lot of sense,
definitely
he's
a smarter scrambler. I wouldn't say he's better. He's not faster. I'd say he's smarter.
Don't get me wrong. There's times where I'm like, run the damn ball, run it. Just hold onto the ball, run the ball. There's a gap right here. The A gap is open. Run it through. You can get the first down. So, and he doesn't do it. So that kind of it kind of worries me that they're not utilizing like that, which they did in his first year. Bo Nix ran a lot. He was one of the top rushers on their team, aside from Jaleel McLaughlin. But, I think that the Broncos are becoming too pass happy right now in that, and just trying to Sean Payton's trying to hey, this is my quarterback. This is his arm. He can do this versus hey, let him run. Let him run the ball. He can run. He can scramble. He can get out of tough situations. He's one of the least sacked quarterbacks in all the league. He only has 6 sacks. He's only been sacked 6 times this whole year. How many times has Drake May been sacked?
Well, 30.
34.
Yeah. And that does attest that does give some credit to Denver's offensive line.
No,
they have one of the best offensive lines in the league.
I'm not
Denver's offensive line is much better.
Much better. I have to look deeper into it, but I'm wondering. I have to see how many of those 34 sacks that Drake has taken, how many of them were really coverage sacks, as opposed to he just got sacked and the offensive line just failed him. I would say it's probably 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is then you think Drake holds on to the ball too
long? On too many occasions, yes.
Which it could be a problem in the future.
It could be. It could be.
And especially if you get into the playoffs and you start getting, defensive, edge rushers that are, feisty, like guys if Drake May were to go up against a Nick Bonita or a Jonathan Cooper and he tries to hold onto that ball, he's going to have issues if it comes down.
He got sacked 5 times by Myles Garrett and still kicked the Browns' ass.
Yeah,
but
the Browns. It's the Browns, though.
Who had the best defense in the league at that time.
They have one guy that's good. And
he also just beat to ass the Falcons defense, who had the best pass defense in the league.
Drake did not look.
It was a bad day for him, and they still. If you look at the game, aside for Drake London getting some crazy catches, Atlanta had no business being in that game.
I disagree with that. I think that's a little bit of your bias fandom. I think Atlanta was a miss.
It could be.
I think Atlanta was a missed extra point away from winning that game.
No.
Yeah.
I do. I truly do.
I do too.
All right.
That game for me could have gone either way, which I was a bit surprised by, considering how Atlanta had just got dog walked by Miami the week before. But no, I was pleasantly surprised for them.
They're so weird. Look, New England has a tough test this week, and this is where we're going to really see who they really are.
Yeah, this is their test.
We've only got. Oh, go ahead.
This is going to be their test before the bye. If they can get through this, if they can get through this unscathed, they're going to be 11-2 getting into the bye.
Who do you guys
Man,
play?
you like me, you look way too far ahead. 11, you guys are let's pump the brakes there,
We
champ.
got Tampa this week, but then it's the Giants and the Jets.
That isn't Mr. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady back. There's not you dress up like the avocado toast for
But
Halloween.
it's the Giants, no Scatabo, and the Jets.
Okay.
Speaking
That's
of
fair.
Tom Brady, do you
Cloning
guys
his dog.
see? Yeah.
He cloned
What
his
the
dog.
fuck?
That just shows that he can't live without a dog. So he clones his dog.
Oh, I
An
saw
old
that
dog,
shit.
his dead
I
dog. To
saw
get a new.
something about that. I thought there was some AI shit.
I read
No,
like
he cloned
20
the
words
dog.
of it.
What the hell?
There was an ESPN notification about it. Tom Brady cloned his dog.
Was there an
Because-
ESPN
Yeah,
notification?
Yeah, I
Yes!
got one earlier.
What?
Hold on.
So, but hold on. Before we get off, because we know we only have a couple minutes left before we have to jump off for 10 minutes before we get into the pick segment. Ian, we haven't gotten to your Rams yet. Obviously, you guys beat the
Yeah, we got
dog shit
6
out of
minutes. Let's get into this. What you got with the Rams?
Yeah, no, it's not much. Considering we beat a fucking Little League team this weekend. I really liked, especially in the second half, man. Like, I love our defense more and more every week. Going into the season, one of the big points for me is how much are we going to get Corum involved week by week. I mean, he's getting a steady dose. Stafford throws the ball 32 times. We had the ball for 43 minutes of that game. Second half, we obviously get the turnover on downs, get a fumble, we get a pick. Like we're looking good, man. Like I said, granted, we play the Saints, so I'm not gonna put too much stock into it. But I mean, shit, if it wasn't for the Seahawks just playing absolutely out of their minds, we'd be in sole. Well, I think the Niners are 6-3. They haven't had their bye, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, either way, we're 6-2, and we're looking great. I I don't know, man. I think it's going to be good. Our defense, I don't really see many flaws in it. I mean, week by week, like I said, they didn't score in the second half. We had 3 turnovers, and we controlled that game, especially in the second half. And not playing down to the level of competition is something that's really refreshing. We didn't let them hang in the game. I mean, because what was the score at halftime? I forgot. It was 20-10 at halftime. In the second half, we outscored them 14-0. But no, I mean, I could totally see Stafford throwing the ball 40 times in the playoffs. Kyrie Williams goes for over 100 again. This might be the year, man. And one thing about your team winning the championship is, man, that was just so great. But I don't know if I'm ever going to experience, like, think about being a Cubs fan in 1908. Like, man, that was great. This is probably going to happen now. And you have to wait 106 years. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Casey, meanwhile, has never seen his team play in the NFC Championship game. There's never been a text about the Cowboys playing in the NFC Championship.
Now, I will say one last thing about the Patriots. They haven't let a rusher hit over 50 yards in the entire year. Hasn't been done.
Are you serious?
I thought that was going to change. I thought that was going to change on Sunday. I hammered the over on the Bijan rushing yards on draft for my parlay.
You lost that some bitch.
I sure did.
I can't believe you got an ESPN notification about Tom Brady cloning his dog. That's insane.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
I'm going to have to check that on the break.
So we got about 2 minutes left before this segment ends. Justin, you're probably the only other one in this group that watched the games Friday and Saturday. What a weekend for Maine. Obviously sweeping BU. I know it's at home, but I don't care. It's a Hockey East
Doesn't
rival.
matter where. You swept BU. You went from getting dog walked against Colgate, because we really did. You gritted one out to get to overtime against BU. You were never ahead until overtime. Ground that one down. And then it was an 8-goal slaughter fest across the ball. But it wasn't because we were getting defensively slaughtered the entire freaking game.
Yeah, see, but my thing is, if Alvin Boy is in that game, it's an 8-2 game.
I don't know. Boyas hasn't looked sharp at all this year. I don't know.
No, but
I would take him over Rousseau in a heartbeat. Don't get me wrong.
Rousseau is good, though. He showed some
good.
stuff.
He is good.
So, Justin, I have an overreaction for you, and I wanted to specifically save this one for you. And
All right,
this
we
is
got
crazy.
2 minutes and 30 seconds. What you got?
Justin Poirier is the best player on Maine.
Not an overreaction.
You don't think so?
Not an overreaction.
The way he can work with the puck in his hands and the way he moves without the puck, too.
And
He
it's
just
not just him
knows where
because
to be
in his
on the
first
ice.
couple games, I thought he was just going to be a pure like Joey Diamond. I have to score every time I touch the puck. He's facilitating too.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Alex,
And
did you by chance was that goal on SportsCenter top 10?
I don't know if Poirier was. I know Brock Holtz was.
I will,
For
Alex, I gotta send you this goal because oh my god,
Who was
it
it?
was
Who was watching?
insane.
Justin Poirier.
Damn,
So
deadass. He has the
I'll
same
send
name
it
as
to
the
you. I'll
UFC
send it to
fighter
you in a
with a
bit. But
J.
it was absolutely nuts
Let
how
me
this
see.
puck went in.
No, not Justin Poirier.
No,
Not
I know.
Dustin.
I was playing, but let me see. Just goal main.
Also, Justin, I think Maine splits with UMass this weekend on the road.
Yeah, UMass is no joke this year. I will say one other thing. Northeastern is going to be a force. That goalie of theirs, Xander,
Holy, is he good?
crap.
Yeah. I'm trying to get tickets for the 14th and the 15th because obviously my wife's from Vermont. In Vermont comes to the Alphon. I just
Yeah.
want to show her her home state getting bashed out by
Just-
10.
Just kidding. Just blistering, blast it on. I mean,
Hey.
Vermont had a good start to the year, but it's Vermont.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said earlier with the Panthers. You're like, but they're the Panthers. Like, but it's Vermont. Like,
Hey, before we cut off like the Sopranos, we're gonna be back with part two. Me, Casey, Justin, and Alex, our guest picker, and that's always and we're actually gonna come through with the season records so we can see who's on top thus far. So don't miss it. We'll be back in a few minutes.
see you on 10.